first of all, another review.
Yeah, so Ticket to Paradise, which is the new feature from Ol Parker.
Oh, good old Ol.
Yeah, who did, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, and who we believe is probably responsible for It'll All Be All Right in the End.
He wrote it.
Yes, exactly, from Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. But as you know, we've also traced it back to
John Lennon.
Julian III.
Julian of Norwich.
Julian of Norwich.
Almost certainly.
Yeah. So anyway, so this is like a kind of latter-day sort of screwball romance. Reteams George Clooney and Julia Roberts, who have appeared on screen together many times. They are a divorced couple who hate each other, but they are brought together for the graduation of their daughter, Lily, played by Caitlin Dever from Booksmart. After graduating, she's going to become a lawyer. She goes on holiday to Bali with her best friend because, she's well done. She's done well in her exams. Go off and have a holiday. Whilst there, she meets and falls in love with a local played by Maxime Boutier. She tells her parents that A, she's staying in Bali, and B, she's going to marry G'day, who is the person that she's met and fallen in love with. They immediately jump on a plane, going out under the pretense of, going to congratulate her, but decide, look, let's just bury the hatchet. Let's, put our differences aside and let's team up to stop this marriage from happening, because we both know that this is a terrible mistake. This is not what our daughter is going to do. And although we can't agree on anything and we absolutely hate each other, let's just agree to work together to destroy the possibility of this marriage. But even on the journey to meet them, it is evident that presenting United Front is not going to be easy. Here's a clip.
They are so beautiful, aren't they? I mean, I know it's been said before, but you're looking at they're doing this kind of...
I know, but it's like cabaret, isn't it? The crowd is beautiful, the girls are beautiful, even the orchestra is beautiful. So this is kind of... They've gone off to the beautiful island, in which everyone says, "Come, wow, this is beautiful," and they are George Clooney and Julia Roberts, and everyone's beautiful, and there's a certain amount of
Ol Park is quite beautiful as well.
Yes, precisely, and there's a certain amount of that kind of why do we go to the cinema? Because outside it's the world, and inside there is this bubble in which
George and Julia
and Julia Roberts have to agree to get on with each other for long enough to break up the marriage. Now, say from the outset, if you stopped the film at that point and said, okay, and now write me what happens between here and the end of the film, you could pretty much do it right down to the very final freeze frame. It is a film which is reassuringly unsurprising. There is nothing.
I can imagine a large market for that.
Precisely. There are moments when reassuringly unsurprising is precisely what you want. So it's nonsensical fluff in which Julia Roberts reminds us that she has the widest smile in the history of cinema, and George Clooney does that head-wobbly thing so much that you fear that his head might actually fall off because it's so wobbly. The question isn't whether or not... this isn't a film that exists in the real world. It's a film that exists in the world of cinematic convention and genre convention. Fine. I did the whole Secrets of Cinema series about how much we embrace and enjoy genre conventions. You go to see thrillers and heist movies and rom-coms because there are certain rules. This isn't going to win, an Ernst Lubitsch award. It's not Nora Ephron, but it passed the 6 laugh test quite easily. And quite often, because of just sort of slightly... There is fun to be had in watching George Clooney and Julia Roberts bicker with each other because it's like they've played in this band before. They know the rhythm. So I'm doing a lot of this in this particular show.
There's a lot of percussion on the show today.
But you know what I mean when it's like they understand the beats of each other's comedy. It's also, the whole thing looks, there's a slight sort of, midlife melancholia, missed opportunities that may perhaps be being able to be revisited. There's a thing about, well, is it the oldies or the youngies who are actually going to learn the lessons? Incidentally, this is not a quiz. It's okay. You don't need to send in your answers. It's fine. We all know what the answers are. So it's fluff, but it's perfectly acceptable fluff that I watched and I laughed and I smiled and I thought, that's That's the movie that it is. If you wanted to, you could dismantle it. But why would you want to? If you go and see Ticket to Paradise, which has got the poster that it has, it's that film. And I enjoyed it it's weird. Particularly at the moment, it was like you just said, yeah, that'll do.
A lot of that. And of course, one of the many people have said, about crime fiction, particularly, or some types of crime fiction, is it's very, very popular because in that kind of P.D. James, in fact, Anthony Horowitz was talking about his new book, Twist of the Knife, and that people love this kind of because there is resolution, there is a format, there is a puzzle, there is entertainment to be had, and then there is resolution. And when things are particularly uncertain out there, if this movie Ticket to Paradise is reassuringly unsurprising, I'm in the queue.
Yeah, and can I also say, I should say, because sometimes if you talk about a film like that, it gives the impression that making something that's fine is easy. No, it isn't. No, it really isn't. Because we've all, heaven knows, I have a tin ear for comedy, and we all know how many times I've got off my bike about rom-coms being savagely disappointing. And this is not in the savagely disappointing camp. That was a great video, wasn't it?
I couldn't take my eyes off it.
No, neither could they.
Do they know, do you think, that they can keep up to date with all things Kermode and Mayo's take by following us on our socials? Because they're all here below.
Well, they definitely know it now.
That's true.